I cannot believe what I just saw. Josh just won Big Brother 19. The Big Brother 19 finale just concluded, and Cody won America's Favorite Player. There's a whole different opinion on that, alluding to comments he's made regarding certain things, scientific and not. But Josh, the big meatball himself, just beat Paul in the final two. Josh has been back and forth about whether or not he would take Paul to the final two if he won the final HOH, which Josh did live during finale. He took Paul, which I honestly thought he pulled a Cody Calafiore from season 16. I thought him taking Paul meant that he was about to lose right then and there. But as it turns out, the jury really hated Paul. And you could tell from their speeches, the people that voted for Josh or against Paul, either or fits, you can tell that they were really upset with Paul because he really didn't own anything. And this is the problem I have with it. Like, congrats to Josh. I was rooting for Josh the whole season. But as a fan of strategic game, Paul obviously did deserve to win. Whether or not you agree with certain comments Paul made in the house or not, on a strategic game level, Paul was absolutely going to be a worthy winner if he won. The thing about Paul is, and I was a fan of Paul last year, I thought Paul was robbed last year in the final two when he lost to Nicole 5-4. He lost to Josh 5-4 tonight. The thing about Paul is this year he did a lot worse in terms of jury management. And the thing is, Paul continued to lie instead of owning his game. And that's what cost him. You could clearly tell that the way he handled the jury, more specifically Alex and Jason, that he lost the game because he continued to lie to them even after they were evicted. The jury's going to compare notes. The jury is always going to compare notes. And they compare notes. And they must have decided, you know what, Paul played us bitter, whether you want to call them bitter or not, they decided they were not going to vote for Paul. And I'm very interested in the backyard interviews that are going to be taking place, because I want to hear exact explanations. Because some of them, a couple of them alluded to Paul's jury management being the reason why he didn't get their votes. So I'm very interested to watch the backyard interviews to see if there's any further details alluded to that. But I mean, either way, I think I was going to be happy with this finale because from what it looked like in the jury roundtable that aired tonight, Christmas had no chance of winning, regardless of, you know, the final outcome. And Christmas wasn't really going to be in the final two anyway, because Josh has been going back and forth, but the night before finale, he seemed to be set on taking Paul to the final two, and Paul was going to take Josh. Paul's been planning to take Josh to the final two for a month and a half, basically. So, yeah, either way, it seemed like Josh was going to win no matter what. So that's kind of cool. But Josh is a super fan. So, I always root for the super fans in the game, because I'm one myself. I rooted for Steve in Season 17. I didn't really root for Nicole last year. I did root for her in Season 16, though. I rooted for Paul last year, believe it or not. Paul and Victor. And Bridget. Bridget was cool. But, Season 15, who did I root for? I rooted for Andy. Andy's a super fan. He won Season 15, even though that season is kind of a blur to me because of all the racism and nasty comments that were made during that season. It was a good season gameplay-wise, it's just the controversial stuff weighed it down a lot. 14, I rooted for Ian, who ended up winning, so it's funny, because superfans have won the game since season 14 now. Every single season, except for OTT. Morgan won Over the Top, and she wasn't really a fan. She's a fan now, but she wasn't a fan going into it. So, it's kind of cool, but, you know, on a strategic level, it sucks. Paul would have been easily, like, a top 7 winner if he were to win. Josh is, like, in my own personal rankings, Josh is probably, like, low, based on strategic level. It's really hard to rank people going into it. I'd probably rank Josh 13th out of the 20 winners, so that's not too bad. And obviously, even if he was ranked last, I'd rather be ranked last on a winner's list of a game show than to be a loser, one of the several hundred losers that there are in the game. So I'd rather be the most hated, least deserving winner of the show than a not winner at all. So congrats to Josh. It sucks that Paul lost 2 years in a row now on a 5-4 vote, but yeah, that's Big Brother. Paul had terrible jury management, and whether you like to call it bitter or not, that's your opinion, but he handled the jury very poorly, and jury management is a part of the game. So that, and I alluded to it earlier, Paul just kept lying. Like, his final speech, he kind of owned up to everything, you know, I puppeteered every HOH, I made sure blah 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 blah. You know, he kind of owned up to it in his final speech, but that was, like, really the only time he owned up to anything. Like, he should have owned up to being behind Jason's eviction in his goodbye message, like Josh did. And that also irked me, because when they ended up airing a couple segments before the vote was read, they aired a Paul being a puppet master segment, which everybody but Cody got a kick of, because, you know, Cody likes to blank stare at the camera, that's like his character thing. Everybody else was laughing. And then, what do you call it? And then they showed a segment of Josh doing his goodbye messages to, I believe he started doing these messages from Jason onward. I think so. Maybe Matt. I think I read an interview where Matt also got a similar goodbye message. But basically ever since, like, the 4th juror onward, Josh has been doing goodbye messages where he's like, hey, I've been in an alliance with Christmas and Paul, and we, you know, congratulations, you played yourself. And Paul would just act like he had nothing to do with anything. And Paul called Josh a coward? What? How is he a coward for telling the truth when you lied? You probably would have gotten Alex and Jason's votes if you didn't lie to them, Paul. Anyway, my hand is feeling hot because the camera's getting hot, because it does that after a while, because I've been ranting for how long now? Oh god, nearly over 9 minutes now. With that is going to do it for this vlog. I actually need to start editing vlogs because I'm falling a bit behind. The Hurricane Irma just not having power and everything with that threw me completely off schedule. So I need to get these vlogs going, especially this one, because this one's gonna take a little while to render. Whoa, what the hell? When did that happen? Whoa, okay, that's probably demonetized. Okay, I'm gonna go deal with this here on my leg. With that, thank you for watching, and until tomorrow, catch you later.